Da 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 da. 'Tis the season, folks. Southern Hang Podcast coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky. Red, Sherm, Neil, and myself are deep into the greatest season there is, NCAA March Madness season. We are recording this as the 26 tourney is currently in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 weekend. By the time this show comes out, we'll have the 26 Final Four teams set and ready to go. While we wait to see how those games play out, we thought we'd reflect a bit and discuss the GOATs of past NCAA tournaments, teams, players, individual performance, crazy runs, most memorable shots. We're going top to bottom on the best sporting event out there. Survive and advance, boys. I know we all love this stuff. What do y'all think, man? Coming live from Kentucky. Y'all been watching this year's tournament?
Nothing like it, man. Nothing like March Madness.
Best time of the year. I've got to know. Was that the CBS intro? Is that what you started with?
I was trying. What'd you think? I was gonna play the actual song, but then copyright infringements we get yelled at. So I think if I hum it, then we're allowed to get away with that one. So.
I think you're good, man. I still got goosebumps.
Good. And I don't know that I can sing One Shining Moment.
Just give it a try. Give it a try.
Yeah, I don't even know if I've got it in my head. Yeah, how that one goes. But yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, we're sitting here watching the tournament yesterday, because by the time this goes live, we will have the Final Four teams set. But
by the time this goes live, this will be lacrosse season.
I don't even know what that is.
Sorry.
It's offsides on lacrosse. I don't know.
Yeah, no, been a fun tournament so far for this year. I've enjoyed this 26 tournament. But,
this time of year is amazing, but it's a little better when the Cards and Cats are singing a little more dominant. But but we can still appreciate the tournament as it is for what it is.
Yeah, the girls did better than the boys. The girls, Cats, and Cards each made the Sweet 16. Unfortunately, both lost yesterday, but both made the Sweet 16. And then the fellas not as much. Neither one of them survived the first weekend. Cats needed an amazing last-second half-court heave to tie the ball game to get to OT. So that was fun. That was probably the biggest shot of this year's tournament early.
We chose to go that route. We could have won that game.
Oh, you could have won.
We could have.
Oh, you could have won. You could have won it earlier, but you're like, nah. Let's
We said that's right. Let's string this out a little bit. Somebody said the bus isn't going to be ready for another 30 minutes, so we said might as well go to OT.
Well, you wanted to make one shining moment, right?
That's right.
You needed the moment to
we knew we weren't going to get to the Final Four, so how do we get ourselves in there? That's right.
Red, you're the resident Cat fan here. What do you think of Pope?
I got the old school Cats on this morning, actually. Like most UK fans, we talk with our friends quite a bit, right? Like, are we good? Are we bad? Did we fuck up? Like, what are we doing? I hate to say normalize, because you do that at work all the time, and then people are like, hey, it is what it is, right? But the guy's been plagued by injuries for the last 2 years, right? So, I think we're going to be okay. I think it's still too soon to tell.
Pope got a limp?
No, Pope's good. The Pope, his flock.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, well, what's that got to do with Pope? Pope got an injury, because.
Yeah. I think this, now it's a different game now, and it's more like every year it's like a free agent class, right, with the portal and all that.
Yeah.
And I feel like injuries play a bigger part now. Because, and Louisville dealt with this too. If you lose not just one of your better players, but that means you lost a big portion of your budget.
Right.
Louisville, with Mikel Brown, that was 25% of their budget for this year was on one player. And that player doesn't play, it shows on the court. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how in this time how teams can build depth, because that's the hardest thing. Like nobody wants to go to Louisville or Kentucky to be the 12th guy.
No, it's not nearly as fun either. I mean, it is. I still love basketball. I'm still ate up with it. But I used to love oh man, this guy by the time he hits his junior year, watching them grow and build, and I don't know. It's like I have to spend 2 weeks memorizing. I'm like, okay, who's this whole new herd of people I got to learn? I'm like, what happened to that guy? Oh, now he's on this other team, and I'm like, well, shit. So I don't know. I that maybe that's the old old man in the this ain't the same kind of music I had when I was a kid. Like that. I don't mean to throw out my old manness, but I really enjoyed watching a team grow and have the same players and get to see these guys develop. Now I'm like I don't even know who we got.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
I liked that too, though, Craig, because even with the rivalries, like even with UK UofL, you knew who was on UK's team and who was coming back, and that rivalry, for the UofL fans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Watching that I enjoyed that. You were kind of like, all right, how do we match this up? Anyway, I do miss that part.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Cotton, you mentioned the girls' game. So Jeff Walls, Louisville's women's coach, they lost yesterday, like you said, in the Sweet 16. And in the post-game comments, one of the first things he said was, I'm excited about next year because we've already re-signed 4 or 5 of the players for next year.
Yeah, their sophomore class is legit. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what coach got to worry about. It's not just going out finding new players. You got to re-sign what you got and see. Mm-hmm. And then it's a matter of, at what price for the guys. If a certain player hits the portal, people, you might say, oh, man, I can't believe Louisville let this guy go. Well, it might have been at that price. If a guy's asking for $1.5 million and he's only worth $250, probably good to let him go. It's just such a different sport now. But that's okay.
Izzo talked about that same thing yesterday, right? His portal was the locker room, right? Going back in after their loss and trying to make sure they secure everybody.
Yeah.
But it's also to me it's so fucked up, right? Like the Florida wins last year, right? You win a title, and people still jump in the portal, right? UK picked one up, Aberdeen, right?
Yeah.
Had he stayed, maybe they go back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
you can't blame the kids, right? If you got a chance to go get paid, go get paid.
Got to make hay when the sun shines.
Heck yeah.
I try to what?
No, I just that's the kind of stuff I like. I don't have any of those. I'm very proud of you to be able to memorize all these, country sayings. I've got a good buddy of mine that can just repeat them. He's got 85 of them in his repertoire, and they just he'll always got a new one. I ain't got that part of my memory that memorize. I can memorize songs and music lyrics, but I ain't got the,
We'll get you there. We'll have a class. We'll have a class.
And so, I'm proud of you.
We'll pull you in. We'll pull you in.
Yeah.
But can you guys? So going back to these, I hate to say, it's money chasing is what it is. But can you even look at the team anymore and be like, oh yeah, those guys were on the 2022 team? I don't even know anymore, right? I just know there was a team.
Yeah. No. And I get halfway through the season for Louisville, and I'm finally okay, I'm starting to get all the names down. And then I'll speak to my sister-in-law who's diehard Kentucky, and she's like, well, that she'll reference somebody from Kentucky. I'll be like, buddy, I'm still just now getting Louisville down. You think I'm going to memorize Kentucky? There ain't no damn way I'd have a clue who y'all's ball players are. I got no idea who y'all got.
To that point for Red, with when Coach Cal was at UK and you had the one and done and going through that whole system, and now you watch, for the last 5 years watching the NBA All-Star game, and I'm like, okay, UK player, but they only played there 1 year, and I mentioned it. My wife is a UK fan. I'm a UofL fan. I say something to Caitlin, she's like, I don't know who that is. She has, but they were only there 1 year, so she may remember the name, but doesn't remember them playing. Whereas, you look back at, think of NBA stars like Rex Chapman for UK that played there and then, was a, I don't want to say UK staple, but was there. I mean, that was, it was the Anyway,
when you
big
get
difference.
when you get to the league, it's true in football too. Like, what? And you say, "Hey, I'm so and so from blank." Like, what school do you mention?
Right. The last one.
The last one?
The one you had
Most
more
teams.
years. The one you had more years with. Right. Yeah.
Does it
Well,
does it
speaking.
stop the jersey retirement or jersey hanging?
Oh yeah, bringing them back. That's a good call. Do you have multiple schools? If you did great, that person did great for multiple schools. Do they? Hey, your freshman year, you're getting hung here, and sophomore year, you're getting hung there. I don't know. That'll be fun to see in the next few years, I guess. Right?
Yeah. And that,
They will.
Well,
go ahead.
not to take away from the dialogue. I was going to talk about a long-time staple at a certain school, being that we're on a certain subject. But back in '92, I know, but I figure I'd pull the Band-Aid now. Let's pull the Band-Aid now. But Duke had a long-time staple back in the day that played multiple years. Christian
This
Laettner, who
motherfucker.
probably had the biggest, the most played shot repeated over and over again. And Sean, what was it? Sean
Woods.
Woods?
Sean Woods. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have had, because his shot was equally as amazing. But you don't even remember that. You don't even remember that shot.
Oh, you do? Yeah, you do.
Unless you're a Kentucky or somebody but like Laettner's shot, that's probably the most replayed shot every year, that you see, and people have to still talk about it. Just incredible. I was watching Patino talk about it this year. They were interviewing him before he played, maybe before,
St. John's,
but, yeah, St. John's. So, yeah,
that
incredible.
That was an interesting
Inbound
take.
head, huh?
Yeah, take a deep breath, Red. We'll come back to you here in a moment.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting take, Cotton, on kind of how Patino views it. That game,
I thought it was awesome. Yeah.
That was awesome, and I don't know that I've never heard anybody else, including UofL fans, talk about it that way. That it was just an amazing game. He was glad to be a part of it.
should
It's something
be.
he looks absolutely.
You should be. That was an amazing. That's one of the most amazing ball games of all time. The back and forth in that game was. I remember where I was at. Like I'm a Louisville person. I remember being at my mom and dad's house watching that game, and pre Cal coming to Kentucky, I didn't have the animosity I had towards Kentucky back then. Like Louisville was one, but I watched Kentucky and I enjoyed it. And then for some reason, when it became the Cal versus Patino, it's like it's this animosity grew, and now it was like you had to like, why can't I like them? Aren't they in the state of Kentucky? I'm not allowed to be pro kind of them too, but but it seems like after that happened, it was like nope. And so I remember watching those ball games. I loved that those '96 team for Kentucky was incredible, and that was a dope ass team to watch. I watched almost every game that year.
They wore denim uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember those?
That's how badass they were. They wore denim uniforms and still won games. Craig, you didn't have the animosity because you're not from here. You're from Texas, so you were trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but the state of Texas is pro the state of Texas. They love the shit out of the fucking state
That's
of Texas.
different.
And like it's like, hey, it's University of Texas versus A&M. I'm a UT guy, but when they're done, they're not playing each other. Hey, I hope A&M does good. So when I moved here,
Wait a minute.
It confused me because I was like, what? I'm like, and they're not even in the same conference. So that always tripped me out too. Because I'm like,
I don't know what kind of alternate reality you living in.
Now you and I are anomalies, buddy. You and I are on the same page, and I understand where you're coming from, but we are in a minority big time. Just to understand that, because Texas A&M are throwing the horns down. They're doing anything they can when it's not game time. That's happening. That is happening.
yeah, but like, yeah, but you're still like, it ain't the same. Like, I'm born in Texas City.
I'm not
Texas,
sure you are. I'm not sure you're from Texas.
And like
Oklahoma,
and they didn't.
Wherever you're from, they didn't teach you how to rivalry.
Well, it
Like,
didn't.
come
Like,
on.
it never made no sense to me because I was like, Are we in the same conference? No. Okay, so what's that? Like I never got on it. Granted, I'm pro Louisville.
I have two daughters. I'm diehard Cardinal, graduate of the University of Louisville. Remember jumping up and down on the couch when they won the national title in 1980. I was like 7 years old. I've always been a Louisville fan through and through. And then my first my oldest daughter decides, you know what, I'm going to go to University of Kentucky, and then my middle child followed her there, and I told them both the same thing: I love you, I'll write the check, but I will not ever wear the gear.
I'm shocked, Neil, you didn't get checks made with like the national championship, like Louisville's national championship. So when they go to cash the check, they're like, "This son of a bitch." Mm-hmm. We don't need to see this UofL stuff. Yeah.
Well, Neil had to form a nonprofit so somebody else would write the check.
That's right. That's right.
That's it, yeah.
So back to this Leitner guy, right? Basketball player, stud. As a person, I think he's a dick, but that's okay. But go.
Y'all hang out. You have.
I do. Yeah, we tried. We tried to. Yeah. I tried to extend the olive branch. It didn't work. Yeah. But you look at what he did in the tournament. We talked about who had good runs. He might be the greatest college March Madness player of all time, because he also stayed 4 years, right? And that just isn't going to happen anymore. Like all the records that he has about postseason rebound scores, blah blah blah, nobody's going to touch it.
Mm-hmm. The NBA or the Olympic Dream Team, only college player on that team, right?
Yeah.
Only college player on the Dream Team.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Jordan and Bird, and, Magic and all them shit. He's on the Dream Team. Like,
I do think though that they decided to have a college player on that team, and then he was the college player.
Yeah.
I don't know that he was the 16th best player, but
Now I know you and he were having lunch, so you can discuss why he's a dick. After from your lunch break. But do you think he's typecast like Joffrey from Game of Thrones? Like in the real world, the actor Joffrey was probably a decent person, but everybody hated that guy, and like the rest of his life, the world hates him. And you're like, dude, it was like I had to step on the court. That was my what I had to do on the court, and like are there people that just don't like him no more? Like, or have you ever actually heard people say in the real life he's just an asshole? Like,
I think he's probably okay. There was a 30 for 30, I think, called "I Still Hate Leitner" that came out 5 years ago. Like if you watch that, some of it was maybe villainized. Is that the right word? During his collegiate, and even when he was in the pros, I think he kind of came across just as arrogant. But I think he's probably okay, dude.
Yeah. Well, you got to step on that. You got to have mind change. You got to step into that. You got to step on that court. There ain't no friends.
Is that the era when people learned to hate Duke? Like, because before that they had success, but I don't know that they hated Duke really until it was him.
Yeah. Well, they didn't really have because that's when they started with their national championships, right? It's not like they got history.
Well, I mean, they played Louisville in the national title game in '86, but if memory serves me correct, they were unsuccessful.
If memory serves.
If memory serves. Heard. Hey, and wasn't that in? Well, no, it's all right. That's just being mean towards college basketball. I was in Texas. So wasn't that isn't that the one in San Antonio? '86.
Yeah.
So I'm in San Antonio. We're living in New Braunfels. The state of Texas didn't even pay attention to college basketball. I remember moving here and people were like, "Who do you like, Louisville or Kentucky?" I'm like, "Never heard of either one of them." So now I'm
erroneous.
Yeah, I'm
erroneous.
Like, now I'm in. Now I love it as much as everybody else. But at the time, I'm like, "You're telling me that was in the city that I live next door? Like, we didn't even know the tournament was going on." So it's all football and baseball down there. But all good.
Wilding, I think that to answer your question, I think the answer is yes, because that success breeds hatred, right? I mean, look at UK. That's why people hate UK, because they were so great for so long. I get it. We'll talk about that on the next episode. But no, it was like 90, 91, 92, right, where they started being consecutive and figured out the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's on my list too, as far as Duke and probably some of the greatest run was because they were, and I should have had this 90. So they were in the championship in 90 versus UNLV, the running Rebels, right? Lost, and then 91 won it, 92 won it. So that UNLV team too, that was an incredible team.
Wasn't
from
that
UNLV
like a
with Tarkanian?
point ass whipping? That title game.
And that team was legit with Larry Johnson and All
Have you seen the interviews where he said he screwed that game up because he was kind of half-assing it because they had beat him the year before? And like the game just kind of kept staying close. No, LJ, grandmama.
Yeah, grandmama. Yeah, we'll talk about some other runs. Who else is out there? Who, when I say GOAT of NCAA,
I think of one name when you talk about a postseason run.
Yeah,
I think of Kemba Walker.
That's where I was going.
That one down. I wrote it down. I've got
that.
Yes, and it wasn't just the NCAA tournament.
No.
I remember that year is like 2011.
That's right.
Maybe? They were
it was. This was
they were
2011.
a 9 seed in the Big East tournament.
Yeah.
Which means they had to play 6 games in 6 days. Won that motherfucker, and then they were a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament and ended up going on a run. So they won 12 straight ball games, and Kemba went nuts.
They were 50-50 in the Big East that year, right? They had those were all 9 losses for them. But to your point, they were unranked. Going into the most important time of the year, and they were like, "Oh shit, let's just flip a switch."
Well, he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lost to Louisville twice that year in the regular season. Double OT in the regular season, and then lost to them again in the Big East tournament in the twice in the regular season. Then beat them in the championship. Beat Kentucky in the Final Four, and then beat Butler in the national championship. Like that, Kemba it was a crazy run. Just yeah, unbelievable.
In my opinion, you're talking about the GOATs. I think that's the greatest run. I think as a player, March Madness, this is that guy we just talked about. I can't say it, but that guy we just talked about is probably the GOAT. As a coach, I might get some shade on this one. I kind of think Izzo.
Yeah,
I don't think he's.
What's he got?
I feel like he's done more with less.
He doesn't have the 5, 6, 7 championships, right? But like there was a time where if you went to school and stayed for 4 years, you were not guaranteed. You went to the Final Four, right? He was going that often.
Izzo.
Yeah, although counter. He does have,
allow me to retort.
He does have a historic loss in the tournament because he lost in the first round as a 2 seed to Middle Tennessee State. I don't remember what year that was.
Yep, I feel like you just won the argument, Neil. Sorry, Red.
All great teams have lost in March Madness to a lesser team.
That's fair. That is fair. Izzo is getting a little grumpy, though, these days. He does, like, you know how the first 10 minutes of this podcast went? He'd have been right there with us, bitching about all of it. He's like, oh, I can't believe this.
He's 115 years old. He looks the same since we started watching ball in 1982. Like, he's been there forever. Like, when's the dude going to hang it up? Like,
well, he's not until he's forced out. But who do you tip the hat to? Who's the greatest coach? March Madness.
I'm not saying this is my vote, but there's only one team that's gone undefeated, 1976 Indiana University. I mean, that boy's undefeated in 1976. Do you talk about that? Do you put IU and that team in the greatest of all time?
Yeah, I mean, they went undefeated.
I don't know. Yeah.
Obviously, Wooden had more success.
Yeah, John Wooden got 11.
But that was only because he had the greatest assistant of all time.
Yeah, and Danny Crum. Yeah. Yeah. Wooden got 11. Mm-hmm.
Do you downplay that at all?
Well, I appreciate you bringing this up, Kentucky guy, because the modern era NCAA, which it is still the NCAA championship. You said that to me one time. We were arguing on a golf course, and I still remember it. And it is still 8 national championships. But the NIT was the bigger tournament back in the day. And Kentucky has multiple NCAA tournaments championships where they lost in the NIT and then got in the NCAA tournament and then won that one. So it wasn't the same tournament. So it's not apples to apples. The NCAA tournament of today is not what it was back then. The NIT was the bigger tournament. So when people say, I've got 8 NCAA, but yeah, but it was a secondary tournament back then. So was that the same for Wooden? Did he win his when it was the secondary tournament, or was it always the bigger tournament? So that's a subject. I'm not saying it's wrong.
It was the big tournament.
Yeah, the NIT was the bigger.
No. But for Wooden, because that
Yeah.
happened in the 60s and 70s. I think by then it was the
Yeah, it was the bigger tournament. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Red, I know.
I think it was the 50s.
I recall us having this conversation on the golf course one day, and
I kind of do too.
Y'all like to have your jackets with all your numbers and all that stuff. I get it. Like Kentucky guys love to, but the first, I'm going to say, I think it's the first 4, but it could be at least the first 2 or 3. Kentucky did not win the NIT. They lost in the NIT and then got out of that tournament and still were able to get the NCAA tournament and won those tournaments and won that tournament. So it wasn't like they won.
That's how good they were. You can't do that in today's world. You can't get out of March Madness and then go get it in the NIT. That's how good they were.
Oh, all right. My bad.
I don't want to pause this conversation because it's good chatter. Have you always had a stormtrooper over your left shoulder?
This is a new.
He needed some reinforcements.
Let me bring in. So no, the stormtrooper. We just got a new garage fridge this past week. It's a great garage fridge, and the old garage fridge he fit on top, but the old garage fridge. The new one he doesn't. So I was trying to find placement for the stormtrooper. He sat on top of the old fridge with a R2D2 and a Darth Vader, but he doesn't fit now.
Same size?
Is that like?
So he came
That's
the
a
R2D2,
big fridge.
R2D2 and the Darth Vader. Yeah, the new fridge is taller, so he doesn't fit. His head rubs on the garage.
What era stormtrooper are we looking at here?
Oh, he's modern. Yeah, this is like but he has accoutrements, hat, the 3D glasses. He's got his cool beach vibe. Got his glasses going. So yeah, it's a whole different. Yeah, it's a new addition. I brought him down here because I'm like, well, I guess he's going to the basement. And I was trying to find some place to put him, and I'm like, oh yeah, this will be great. He can be backup in the podcast area.
Would stormtroopers be as bad at shooting basketball as they are at shooting their laser guns?
Yeah, probably.
For show.
Yeah,
For show.
Yeah, probably.
So Craig, going back to your comment, right? So let's bash Kentucky because it's not most. Let me finish. So
Go ahead. Sorry.
So it's not modern era. So if you want to say modern era, do you have to say that UConn is the best?
UConn's
I don't know
incredible.
how the hell they did it.
UConn is incredible.
They got some
and how they
fluky ones, but they got them a ton of them.
Yeah. No, I get you. Like somebody brought that up a couple years ago. Like, hey, are we now? They were like, hey, do we get to now be top tier blue blood? And I'm like, I don't see how you hold them out. What do they got? 6?
7, I think.
7 national championships?
I mean, well, and that one they won, I can't remember what year it was, with Shabazz Napier. They were terrible throughout the year. Didn't even do that well in the tournament. They ended up making the tournament as a 7 seed. Louisville had beaten them by like 30 points in multiple games in the season.
Yeah.
And then they just go on this run, and it wasn't even like they were killing. They just, survive and advance is what they did, and end up winning a title. Is that the year I think they beat Kentucky in the title game that year, wasn't it? I think because they were a 7 seed and Kentucky was an 8 seed.
What year would that have been?
2015.
Maybe.
That was the year they had the twins.
Yeah, the Harrison twins.
In fact, Kentucky beat Louisville in the tournament that year. Kentucky was an 8. Louisville was a 4. On some bullshit, but that we won't go there. But that was, but they ended up winning a title, and UConn's coach back then was Kevin Ollie. Everybody was ready to fire him. Then he won a title.
2014.
Like, well, shit, I guess we got to keep him.
Yeah, 2014.
2014.
2014.
Yep.
The season was 2014, but it was. Oh yeah, it was 14.
I only know because I was at that UofL UK game
That's right. It was 2014 because Louisville was defending their title.
That's right.
Yeah, and they beat Kentucky 60-54.
I think speaking of UofL UK, when they played the Final Four in 2012,
Yeah, that was great.
if you go back, I want to go back and watch that game. I think had Patino kept the full court press, UofL wins that game.
Because
That was
Louisville
fun.
was way down and they came
Yeah.
back, right? They made it a
Yeah.
game.
Had it where they wanted it.
But Kentucky was the best team that year. Like,
Most
that was-
years.
That was one of Kentucky's best.
You don't have to say that year, like just most years. Like it's just understood.
They had an 8'5", 8'5". Yeah, their unibrow was 8'12", could shoot inside and outside. Like there was he was best. He was the best by far ball player back when he was healthy.
Like I say, that's before he got all fragile.
Yeah, now, right now he twists an ankle every other. Is he still in the NBA? Is he still out there doing it? Yeah, he doesn't move from like 5 to 8 teams now. I don't even know where he's at anymore. But he was by far the most dominant, one of the most dominant players. I'd put Shaq as one of the most dominant players when Shaq was at LSU. That was nuts. I mean, he was just. I mean, at Hack-a-Shaq, I mean, they had to reinvent the ball game just to calm him down because he was such a dominant player.
Well, and they had another 7-footer on the team, and they had Chris Jackson.
Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
Yes.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Rauf is on fire.
All on the same team.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever made a run in March, though.
No, I think they made Sweet 16 maybe. But, yeah. But he was one of the most dominant players I've ever seen in college basketball.
Well, and his early in the pros too, man.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've got the 2013 national championship playing in the background right now to keep my head in the game. But the last 4 minutes, was there a more fun just end of a first half? Like that end of that first half was incredible when Luke Hancock goes off and then Trez gets the alley-oop from Peyton Siva. That was so much
It
fun.
was awesome. Louisville went from like down 12 to leading at half. It was awesome. And that was they fought off the fighting Spike Albricks.
Yeah.
Spike Albricks averaged like 1.2 points a game, and then comes into the title game because of foul trouble. They put him in, and he just can't miss. Scores like 17 points in the first half for Michigan. But that's okay.
Did they
'cause we had Luke.
did they give you all that banner back?
It was
Never taken. Never
It
taken.
was never.
It's here, buddy. We have it on cups.
I have T-shirts.
We got it everywhere, buddy.
I got T-shirts. I got hats.
That was my Neil breaking out the album right there. I was just waiting. I've got this right here.
It's funny you ask. Funny you ask.
I got 2 neons.
Yeah.
I got memories. I was there. Sherman and I were there.
I got a little piece of the floor.
Yeah.
Did you take it that day? Like, did you walk out of there that day with a piece of the floor?
No, there was a company was a big
All right.
sponsor, and they had a piece of it, chopped it up, and sold
Brought
it.
a saw with him. Just walked down there. Just
It'd have been a lot cooler if I did.
What else you got there? You know, Jordan. How long was he around? He wasn't around 4 years.
He was
was
not there for.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan had
I
some
was
nice
thinking-
shots.
You mentioned in legendary players. I was thinking of the run that Steph Curry went on with Davidson. Like they were a 10 seed, and it was just him, and
Just Steph being Steph.
he
Doing Steph
took
things.
over the tournament. That was I don't remember, like 08 maybe, something like that. But I mean, he took that a Davidson team to the Elite Eight.
Do you think the Cinderella teams are they done? Like, you know, one year there was like Wichita State, right? That made a big run. Who was the team from Florida one year?
Florida Gold
Thank
Coast.
you.
Florida
yeah,
Gulf Coast.
Yeah. Like, are the,
VCU went to a Final Four from the first four to the final.
was that with
Yeah,
Shaka
I do.
Smart that year? Yeah.
I think they're done. I do. I don't think the mid majors are. it's just the budget. I mean, the budget. They just can't compete. I think Cinderella's pretty much done.
And that's Patino said also about this year, right? He said something about blue bloods. He's like, I don't know that the blue bloods are as blue bloody. He's like, you just got to have it. You just got to have the alumni to give you the budget. He's like, the NC State's hanging with North Carolina. St. John's is hanging, like,
Yeah, because
he turned St. John's around.
If you got one wealthy alumni that can support your team, then you can compete with anybody.
Yeah, throw the money in the hat for one year.
But I don't think that's happening at a smaller school. Now I do see like previously you might have thought of like Vanderbilt as a Cinderella, even though they're a big SEC school, but they're not a big school. But they got billionaires, and you starting to see Vanderbilt. They're better at football, better at basketball, women's basketball. I think you're going to start seeing the academic schools start to move up. Schools like Cal, Stanford, as their billionaires start to invest in their programs, you're going to start seeing those schools doing well.
All right, we need to do the what is it when you do the future bets on Vanderbilt and Cal.
There you go.
All right.
Well, Cal, like you already saw it in football. Cal wasn't that good last year, but they had a freshman quarterback that was one of the best freshmen in the country, and everybody thought he was going to transfer and go to one of the big SEC schools, but he didn't. He stayed at Cal because they had a billionaire step up, and they're going to pay him, and they're going to build a program around him.
Well, Mark Cuban with Indiana. You're seeing the going through the not that Indiana. I mean, Indiana I would think of as a football school, but not
They
like
are
that.
now.
Not like that. So
They are now.
What's your
right,
favorite
boys.
moment? Like, do you have obviously you have memories. Apparently you have memories, Craig. You said you got them of the 2013 season, but I think was it 87 Keith Smart from the corner for IU, right? Obviously 83 Jimmy V fucking running around the court losing his mind. 85 Villanova, right?
How about the almost moment? You mentioned Butler when Gordon Hayward.
Oh yeah, when he missed
It was like an inch away from knocking in a half quarter to win a national title.
What if that guy had stuck around? Not Gordon, but Brad.
Brad Stevens. Everybody's still trying to get Brad Stevens.
Right? I
heard North Carolina made
same. I heard the same thing.
He's like, no, I'm good. I'm making my millions.
Yep. No, every year is just incredible, man. It's such a fun time. Obviously, we live in the mecca of basketball, college basketball, so everybody talks about it. So it's such a fun time of the year, and getting to see who's going to show up, and watch all the teams, and who's going to make the run. I didn't have Illinois going to the Final Four this year, that's for sure. Wouldn't have thought that in a million.
You didn't have that?
No. Nope. Nope.
Who'd you have in your Final Four?
I haven't done that in a long time. I
come out here saying you love college basketball, say you didn't.
Thank you,
but I
Neil.
do.
Thank you.
I haven't filled out a bracket. No lie, in like 5 to 6 years. I do my bracket and I run it every year, and that takes up all my time. So I do my tournament, which is you play by the point spread, and so everybody has to buy a spot. And then I have a Excel spreadsheet that randomizes you, associates you with the team. Then you play by the point spread, and so based on luck is how you move along. But yes, sir, you in the back. I'm going to go into this conversation, and I'm going to have to explain this, and it's going to be like my Christmas.
Yes.
And shit. Y'all are going to be like, what? Go ahead, you with the blue
Me with
shirt.
my hand up?
And yeah, you with the blue shirt. Sir.
So I want to echo Neil's comments. I think you are lukewarm with college basketball. I do not think that you love college basketball. But where did you send those invites to get into that tournament? I was looking at my phone and my emails here.
I don't think they showed up in Kentucky.
There's an underground squad that have been on this list for so long that people start yelling at me like a month in advance. They're like, "When's the invites coming out?" And so as soon as I shoot out the invites, I need to have where I do multiple, where I have like the homeboys spreadsheet, the work spreadsheet, I need to have multiple. But I do one a year.
Your lukewarm friends.
Yes, thank you, Sherm. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
I guess we're just tangential.
Okay, so back to anybody not wearing a white shirt. Let's talk about who you have in your Final Four. Neil, who'd you have?
I thought it was going to be Kelvin Sampson's year. I thought it was going to be Houston.
I don't think they can get it done.
And then I put a bunch of favorites around.
He's the modern day Gonzaga. Like them and Purdue, I think, are the modern day
I
Gonzaga.
thought it was his year because they were playing in Houston, in the regional, and it didn't happen.
I had them in my final games. I had them with Michigan. I had UConn and Houston coming out of that side, and then Purdue and Michigan coming out of that side. So.
I went Florida, Michigan, Arizona, and St. John's taking the whole fucking thing.
I had St. John's beating Duke.
Yeah. It stung. It stung.
It did.
They were there. They were in that game.
They should have had
It was
they should
closer
have
than
had
the
it.
final
Yeah.
score.
If the game is only 32 minutes, they'd have won. I mean,
Well,
this
Rick's
40-minute stuff.
notorious to not last them long.
Oh.
Whew, that's what she said.
Oh, dang. Oh, dang.
Oh, wow.
I had him on the list for coming on the show next week, but I just got
That's gone.
the denied. Yeah, he was coming on the show, but he just turned down my invite. So, oh man.
Speaking of though, that guy 5 different teams to the tournament, and then I just saw a stat. I didn't even know this, but the Sweet 16, the times he has been in the Sweet 16, he's 12-2, 14 times to the Sweet 16, and then that's stupid.
Don't give Rick a week to figure your shit out.
No.
What you need to give is Rick a walk on the beach. That boy needs some sun.
That's New York, bro.
He's like a vampire. I'm like, holy buddy, like let's go outside, let's see what the sun looks like. Oh well. That's where I'm at, buddies. What do y'all think, fellas? We got some last parting shots. You got some,
a segment that
some
we
other
haven't
people.
done as much. We've gone away from a little bit. Is the jam of the week?
Of the week. I forgot about that. I thought we were going to go into a random rapid fire with Red, and each one of us throw out.
Sure.
We could each throw out a movie. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of like music that
All right.
I think of with basketball. Do y'all have any tunes that you tend to think of when you think hoops?
Outside of one shiny moment, like of college hoops.
Last week I messed around and got a triple double.
Yeah, well, Ice Cube.
It was a good day.
What do you get?
The song that comes to my mind is a little from 1998, little Public Enemy. He Got Game.
Jesus Shuttleworth.
It is if you don't know that song,
Jesus Shuttleworth went to UConn.
Yeah, he did. He Got Game. It's got like a heavy sample from that Stephen Stills Buffalo Springfield song. The song you'll know it when you hear it. Like there's something happening here. You know that little say, hey, what's that sound? Everybody, look what's going around. Like they got that sample in there. He Got Game by Public Enemy's going on the playlist. Wrap up the Final Four.
There you go.
It's a jam.
Is it a bop?
I don't know. Do y'all not know that song?
It's a bop. No, it's a bop.
Yeah. I know that song very well.
I've been fighting off a cough here the whole time, so I'm but Above the Rim would be my other one that I would add to you as far as what I think of basketball. But it's not the songs themselves are not basketball-ish, if that makes sense. But they are songs that I think of. But Tupac, Pain.
I'm glad to see you get
and loyal to the game. Tupac also in there.
I'm glad to see you get away from pick a non-Taylor reference this week.
Allow me to retort. No, I don't have a retort.
I got nothing, Wildy. I got nothing on the basketball song thought process.
All right. We'll just have to do rapid fire with Red then. All right, here we go. No, I don't have. I got nothing for you right now. I didn't have anything keyed up, so I feel like I got to be nice if I'm going to fire one out there. We got to pre-think
All right.
what you know. So, well, fellas, this was fun though. I feel like we definitely missed out on a whole bunch of memories and games and some shot. And there's somebody that's yelling at us that we didn't, throw out Wally Zerbiak or something. But yeah, what a great time of the year and what a fun conversation. So enjoyed it. Hope everybody else enjoyed it. And we'll catch y'all in the next episode.
Pit Snoggle.